Number 1, the kingdom where golden sand meets the future. Welcome to Saudi Arabia, one of the most ancient lands on the planet. And at the same time, a country racing towards tomorrow at a speed few nations can match. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll walk through 10 doors together. From the quietest desert streets to the most insane mega events on Earth. Let's start with geography. Saudi Arabia stretches across 80% of the Arabian Peninsula, sitting at the strategic crossroads of 3 continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa, with 2,640 kilometers of coastline, embracing both the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. This is where trillion-dollar sci-fi mega projects are now rising straight out of the sand. So, the population stands at roughly 36 million people. But honestly, the number that keeps G20 analysts up at night is the median age, just about 29.7. 63% of the population is under 35. This isn't the kingdom of aging kings you read about in textbooks. This is, without a doubt, one of the youngest, most dynamic, and most change-hungry nations in the world today. Under the leadership of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and the Vision 2030 strategy, Saudi Arabia's GDP has hit a historic $1.25 trillion, growing at 4.5%. And here's the strange part. Oil is no longer the engine. The non-oil sector is now growing at 4.9% and already makes up 56% of the entire economy. The 10 doors ahead will lead you into a kingdom of wild contradictions, a place where a single license plate is auctioned for more than the Bugatti it's bolted onto, where young women only truly come alive after 11 p.m., and where you can leave a brand new iPhone on a cafe table, walk away for an entire hour, and find it sitting exactly where you left it. And where you can leave a brand new iPhone on a cafe table, walk away for an entire hour, and find it sitting exactly where you left it. But before we open door number 2, let me ask you, which country are you watching from? And what time is it where you are right now? Drop your location and local time in the comments below. Number 2, Arabian women's beauty, it's alluring, mysterious, and honestly, the silent revolution. When we talk about Saudi women, most of us immediately picture a silent black silhouette covered from head to toe. But if you set foot in Riyadh today, you'll have to trust your eyes twice, because the woman driving that pink Lamborghini Urus past you might just be an aerospace engineer who walked out of a meeting with NASA this morning. Let's start with beauty. Saudi women possess the deep, soulful eyes and thick lashes characteristic of the Arabian Peninsula. Because the tradition of veiling has lasted for centuries, they have elevated eye makeup into an art form of its own, using kohl, an ancient eyeliner made from crushed minerals, creating a gaze that is at once powerful and mysterious. Across their hands flow intricate patterns of henna, which can take hours to complete, and the scent that follows them everywhere is old Arabian agar wood, along with Taif rose essential oil, hand-distilled in the mountains, where a single liter can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But beauty is only the surface. The real twist lies underneath. 2018 was the turning point. The ban on women driving, which had lasted nearly half a century, was officially lifted by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. A year later, the Mahram system, the male guardianship law, was largely dismantled. For the first time in modern history, a Saudi woman over 21 could apply for her own passport, open a business, or study abroad without a signature from her father or husband. Female workforce participation jumped from roughly 17% to over 36% in just 7 years, the fastest rate of change anywhere on the planet. And in 2023, the entire Arab world held its breath when Rayana Barnawi, a breast cancer researcher from Jeddah, became the first Saudi woman to fly into space boarding the International Space Station. A generation earlier, her mother might still have needed her brother's permission to walk to the post office. A friend of mine, a director at an oil and gas conglomerate in Riyadh, told me this in the first meeting he chaired back in 2017. There wasn't a single woman in the room. By 2024, 3 of the 7 department heads reporting to him were Saudi women, all under 35, all educated in the US or UK, and all of them came back home. What I remember most isn't the speed of the change, it's the quietness of it. Saudi women didn't march in the streets. They didn't burn their veils in front of cameras. They simply studied, waited, and when the door cracked open, they walked through, all at once. But if you think their daytime is impressive enough, wait until you see the night. Because door number 3 will lead you into a completely different Riyadh, where life only truly begins after the sun goes down. Number 3, Saudi nightlife, where real life begins after midnight. If you fly into Riyadh at 2 p.m. in July, you might think the city has been abandoned. The streets are empty. The shops are shuttered. Even the birds have disappeared. That's because the desert sun pushes the thermometer past 50 degrees Celsius, hot enough to literally fry an egg on the hood of your car. But come back at 11 p.m. and you'll meet a completely different city. This is the country that doesn't sleep at night, it sleeps during the day. Most malls don't open until 4 p.m. Cafes fill up at 9. Restaurants hit their peak around 1 a.m. And the most surreal sight for any Western visitor, children riding bicycles in public parks at 2 a.m., while their parents sip Gawa Arabian coffee under the palm trees nearby. The epicenter of this nocturnal universe is Riyadh Boulevard City, a $1.4 billion entertainment district that didn't even exist 5 years ago. On a single Friday night, 50,000 people walk through its streets. Korean pop stars perform here. Cristiano Ronaldo plays football 1 kilometer away. A single weekend during Riyadh season can pull in over 12 million visitors, which is actually more than the entire population of Belgium. And the people most transformed by this nightlife revolution, well, they're young Saudi women. A 24-year-old marketing executive I spoke with, let's call her Lama, described her Friday routine dinner with friends at a rooftop cafe in Diriyah at 10 p.m., a concert at Boulevard until 2 a.m., then Karak Chai at a 24-hour Yemeni cafe until sunrise. 5 years ago, none of this was legal. None of it was even imaginable. And today it's just Friday. In a country where alcohol is completely banned, Saudis have somehow built one of the most vibrant nightlife scenes on earth without a single drop of it. But the desert teaches one cruel lesson. Every oasis is surrounded by miles of thirst. And you know, the further you walk from Boulevard's lights, the more that thirst begins to show. Number 4, the dark side, inequality, gender, and the cage behind the glitter. Behind every neon billboard on King Fahd Road, there's an alley the cameras don't enter. Saudi Arabia is one of the richest nations on earth, yet if you walk just 30 minutes south of Riyadh's gleaming skyscrapers, you'll find families of 8 sharing a single concrete room. Women beg in silence outside luxury malls, and migrant workers are living 12 to an apartment. The official poverty rate is a state secret. Saudi Arabia has never published it. Independent estimates suggest somewhere between 12 and 20% of Saudi citizens live below what economists would call a dignified standard. In 2020, the government tripled VAT to 15% overnight and quietly slashed the fuel subsidies that once made gasoline cheaper than bottled water. And above it all sits Wasta, the unwritten system of family connections that quietly decides who gets the job, who gets the loan, and who gets ignored. For ordinary Saudis without royal blood, the cost of living has never been higher. Then there's the second cage, the one made of culture, not concrete. The laws have changed. Women can now drive, travel, work, and own businesses, but laws move faster than fathers. In conservative provinces outside Riyadh, a young woman who refuses an arranged marriage can still be cut off from her family, locked at home, or labeled rebellious, a single word heavy enough to ruin a life. Divorce is technically legal, but custody almost always shifts to the father once a child turns 7. I once spoke with a Saudi mother in Jeddah who hadn't seen her 2 daughters in 4 years. Not because she had abandoned them, but because she had refused to abandon her own freedom. The kingdom is racing into the future at full speed, but not everyone gets a seat in the car. Yet, in a strange way, this same kingdom has also built something the rest of the world has long since lost, a level of safety and human kindness that almost feels mythical. Number 5, the miracle of Saudi safety and the sacred law of Quran. In most countries, leaving your phone on a cafe table is a way to lose it. In Saudi Arabia, it's a way to find it exactly where you left it an hour later, screen still glowing. Walk into any coffee shop in Riyadh during prayer time, and you'll witness something almost unbelievable to Western eyes. The staff disappear, the customers leave for the mosque, laptops stay open, wallets stay on tables, designer handbags hang on the backs of chairs, and the doors are often unlocked. 20 minutes later, everyone returns, and nothing has moved. According to Numbeo's 2025 Global Safety Index, Saudi Arabia ranks among the top 5 safest countries on Earth, ahead of Switzerland, Japan, and Singapore. The streets of Riyadh and Jeddah are watched by one of the densest AI-powered camera networks in the world, with over 1.2 million surveillance units across the kingdom, and beneath that technology sits something older and heavier, Sharia law, where the historical penalty for theft was severe enough to make the very thought feel unthinkable. Many wealthy Saudis still park their Lamborghinis on the street with the engine running and the air conditioning on while they walk into a shop to buy dates. But safety is only half the miracle. The other half is Karam, Arabian hospitality, a sacred duty passed down from the Bedouin tribes of the desert. By tradition, if a stranger enters your home or your tent, you must feed, shelter, and protect them for 3 full days. And during those 3 days, you are forbidden from asking who they are, where they came from, or why they arrived. A friend of mine once got lost driving outside a lula at night. A Saudi family found him at a gas station, brought him home, slaughtered a young lamb for kabsa, and refused every offer of payment. He left the next morning with a full stomach, a phone number, and a brother for life. In a world growing colder by the year, this kingdom still remembers how to welcome a stranger like a king. Number 6, Saudi cuisine. The royal feast eaten by hand. In Saudi Arabia, food is not served. It is offered like a gift, like a blessing, like a small piece of history pressed into your palm. At the center of every Saudi table sits a king. Its name is kabsa, the national dish, and the most jealously perfected recipe in the kingdom. Long-grain basmati rice is slow-cooked in spiced lamb broth, stained gold by saffron, the world's most expensive spice at over $10,000 per kilogram. Layered into the rice are cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, dried lime, and a confetti of roasted almonds and pine nuts. On top, an entire lamb or a half-meter-long fish glistening under the kitchen lights. The tray itself can stretch wider than a steering wheel, and the family gathers around it on the floor. No chairs, no plates, no forks. You eat with your right hand, only your right. You scoop a small handful of rice, press it into a tight ball with your thumb, and flick it gently into your mouth. It sounds primitive.